It's been said the whole world is a stage and everybody plays a part. But the question remains, who's writing the script?
Every society has a determined underclass, but they didn't determine that someone within that underclass will be determined not to be that underclass.
The dude who poked me up, they tried to get me to throw him in a box for attempt murder, but I saw him as a victim just like me.
We had to hustle our way out of poverty because that's what was in front of us.
Welcome to Around the Fire.
Hey, nice to see you. Come on in and join us here at Around the Fire. I'm your host, Jason Thomas. Imagine a conversation between two generations of men who have gone through the same struggle with gun violence and drugs. Today, my guests, Greg X and Y, are here to talk about their struggles and their triumph over this predicament that we find ourselves in. It's great to have many generations here. And I want to try to facilitate a conversation because I read your book.
Okay.
And it's very interesting. Your experiences, it kind of mirrors some of his, but yours has so many ups and downs. And I think even in the book, you describe, you actually apologize for saying you go into this area and you talk about, you're young, and then you switch back over and you're older.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about your story so we can understand.
I believe you're referring to the part where I said some of the story may be fragmented.
Right.
Yeah, because I was getting high too. So, at the time during my life, I was using drugs. And then when it's time to record some of the things that I've experienced in writing, before writing this book, the recollections came after they actually occurred. So this might be in this place, so while I'm 15, and then I might remember something that happened while I was 19.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So the 19 might be in a place at a 15, and then 15 might be after 19, because actually that's how it is in the hood.
Right.
It's even though the things go in chronological order, it's just it's like disorder being normal. You understand?
Yeah.
So
because you're in the situation.
Absolutely, absolutely. But one thing I can assure you, that is not one lie in this book. It's not a lie, not one lie. You understand what I'm saying? That it's all organic and it's all official. It's all everything that actually happened.
And throughout the book, it's a hustle.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
It starts off with them hot dogs.
Right. Yes, sir.
That was a hustle.
Wow.
To
Glad
me,
you picked up on that.
To me, a person that I'm not originally from Queens.
Okay.
I see that hustle mentality, and when I see society look at somebody like you and say that you're less than,
right,
they don't understand the business, acumen that goes into the hustle. They just see the crime or the gun violence.
Right.
And oftentimes society will say black people are criminals.
Absolutely.
And white people just do crime.
Law-abiding citizens, upstanding, wholesome people.
They just happen to do a crime.
Right.
They're not criminals.
No, it's mental illness. That's their new thing now. That whenever they commit crimes or atrocities against society, they give it a mental illness kick.
Right.
And then they'll say, this is only happening because something happened to little Johnny. Maybe he didn't get a little red tricycle. You know what I'm saying? So that's why he went to school and killed 17 people.
Yeah.
But let's get off of them.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back to what you're talking about, right? Yeah, and I like what you said, and we're gonna get down why, right? But the hustle part and a broader society that felt like they was better than us, because every society has a determined underclass, but they didn't determine that someone within that underclass will be determined will be determined not to be that underclass.
Right.
So when we make our way through a situation that we wasn't supposed to make it through, since they couldn't kill us there, they assassinate our character.
Exactly.
So when you say hustle, and what do you think we got for our president? We got a hustler, but he's more scandalous in his dealing. And more, you know what I'm saying? But we don't want to spend a lot of time on him. But we had to hustle our way out of poverty because that's what was in front of us. You hustle or you go hungry. So if you put a person in that position, some folks will succumb to famine. And then there's those like me that's determined to eat. And we're going to make it do what it do, as we say in the hood.
Exactly.
We about that hustle.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, and I like that, because even when you're describing some of your low points, you're still looking at, you still have that positive attribute to look at it as a positive. How can I get out of this?
Right.
You still see it a little bit of that in you, even though that you're down and out.
Yes, sir. But that was good. When you go back and you see it, and I know you're referring to it, you see my grandmother prayed for me. You see the manners that my mother gave me early, like respect your elders. You understand what I'm saying? Don't act like you're not used to anything. How to conduct yourself when you're at home and abroad. So it kind of sets up a tenacious spirit that where you're not willing to accept defeat.
Right.
Make sense? Does that? Okay.
Now, see, I don't know if you heard any of his story.
I haven't.
Maybe you want to talk a little bit to your hustle when you were hustling on the streets.
Was great, Greg. I read as much of the book as I could on the preview. I'm looking forward to diving into the rest of it. And the thing that hit me is because I was first involved with some of the Zulu Nation on the Ave, which led me to the Gods and Earths, which led me to the Supreme Mathematics, to the Alphabet, and I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. That book really got to me, but like it's also the street culture. My family came from the West Indies, so when my pops was coming here, he dealt with schizophrenia, so he wasn't really that present. So I looked up to the role models in the street. Of course, you know, that era was the 90s when the hip hop was dropping the names on the street. Supreme Team was heavy. 50 Cent was still on the mixtape tip. You could see these figures. I started hanging around 40s, you know, when you start to go by Guy Brew, legendary blocks that you mentioned, 150, and like I was so honored by you being able to set up to it, because then when you describe when the 80s came in, the code got broken. Because I had some OGs that were probably around your age, a little lower, and they showed me a code, but when I went in the street, the code no longer existed. So I was trying to live by this code of respect. Like I told him the story when I got stabbed up. I was selling weed. I gave, you know, I thought I was doing the little homies a favor. I was like, you down and out, yo. You 60-40, boom, to get busy. Yo, you get your own half, then you don't even need me, you do your thing. I know the baggy spot on the Collie block. We work together because we in this thing. My pops ain't good, your shit ain't good, so we try to hold each other up.
For sure.
You get your digi scale, you do your thing, then I realize the dude giving me the ounces, the empty bag weighed 2.5.
Whoa.
So you gotta call him out. So, you know, and then I started feeling like I'm getting intelligent, I'm getting smart, I know the code. And then next thing you go, I'm a small dude, I'm a skinny dude. So then they're like, yo, you better start packing. You up to a quarter pound now, bro. You know what time it is. They ain't gonna like you. You bought a car now. They ain't gonna like you. They don't see that I was nice with math. And I really, like he said with your story about the hot dogs, like you came from a really good place of, you could tell that you have a code of morality, of respect. So even when you hit your lows and your highs, there was something in you, and I'm sure that sustained your life. Because a lot of people went through what you went through. They ain't here to say nothing. Some of the cats were trying to guide me the wrong way. They locked up now, and the dude who poked me up, they tried to get me to throw him in the box for attempt murder, but I saw him as a victim just like me.
Go ahead, bro.
And I said, yo, the hardest thing for me to do was get on there, and when the cops were trying to give me a script to say, get this man locked up for attempt murder, I said, man, I paid for my sins in the blood, he paid for his, I don't want to see another brother locked. Let him loose, you know? And then, you know, it went into a theater piece I wrote where I talked about it too. You know, I'm a little bit on, I say on the north side of South Side, because right when you hit Sutphin right there, at the time right there, and then I started going more and more south and diving a little deeper. And when I went there, I always wanted to surround myself with older people because they had an etiquette and they had a code, and because, you know, relationship with Pops really wasn't there, so I was looking, now I can look at it as a rite of passage and this and that. But it kind of flipped into me, and one thing I wanted to ask you, brother, is like, I know you said like a lot of the drug game and when the code broke, when there was the morality in the game, because I love how you told the story about your mother, God rest her soul. And then the code switched because she looked like someone who instilled the code.
That's right.
There was a level of it, and then all of a sudden, I think you spoke around the 80s when the crack epidemic hit or something. It switched. Do you think that was systematic? That really inspired me about that.
Well, that's the nature of the drug. But first of all, I want to respect your mind, and I appreciate where you're coming from and your ability to look beneath what's going on. And your math. I'm an 8th grade dropout, and so I never really knew formal math. But I can break down any weight of narcotics, split it evenly amongst all persons that's involved down to the grain, mathematically, because that's what it takes to live in that subculture. You understand? So I respect your mind, even when you understood that the bag had a certain amount of weight. I'm gonna need to get that back from you. So I understood that. You was asking me in the deterioration of the code. There was a code that was in place, but the nature of drug addiction doesn't allow things to stay honorable. It just doesn't. That's the nature of it. Outside of the system, do I believe that? I believe that certain communities was conspired against. If you read my article on crime, or my chapter on crime in this book, it talks about criminal acts that's never been solved or brought to justice. And then there's in conspiracies that nobody's been charged with, and they've made centuries of profits. So in a sense, yes, it is systematic, but the use of narcotic takes on its own life. And that life is degradative or degrading. It's just gonna reduce us to animal thinking. So you gave the dude 60-40. He repaid you by stabbing you or setting you up. Maybe that might not have been the certain, or setting you up to be stabbed or whatever it is. This is a dishonorable dude. You know what I'm saying? But you never know. He probably smoked his whole pack. And the best he can come up with in that thinking was let's lay him down. And if he got anything left, let's get that. But in all reality, they're only going to get that to mess that up because they can't see past the drug. Man. You feel me?
I do, man. And you know, from my generation, what I noticed, and I know you could speak onto this, because you know, it first started where, you know, all the homies were just 40s and weed and then, you know, some had started flipping, the yak, the yay, they went up.
Absolutely.
And I said, nah, I'm gonna stay on the weed. And then some try to pull me up. They're like, nah, you good, you smart, you need to come up. And I was like, nah, this is too, it's too deep.
Absolutely.
And the cat who did send me, he started sniffing. So I noticed the paranoia in him, and then he started hanging out with the other heads that were in that world. And when they saw that I was like, nah, I'm good with this, I'm gonna get my money like this, I went up to quarters and halves, but I just stayed, you know, because I said, okay, I knew carry less than 4 O's. I kept it like, don't carry the bags on me. And I didn't know I was manipulating. I honestly take my L's for what I did. When I saw the younger, they wasn't hip to what I knew. And I was like, yo, I got the math. Instead of a gram, we did 0.8. So all of a sudden went to 560. So it's math and like the whole thing and I know you could know the code because like there's people I can't talk to this like, and also like to honor the genius of you, brother, because look, like you survived, brother. Like you're telling the story with a conscious mind. Like some people I know, they shitting with Alzheimer's on themselves with a bag, and like they got hit or they're paraplegic, and or if they turn their life around, maybe they found God or something, they don't want to talk about it at all. So they're a closed book. So I commend you, brother, for being a role model for those. Because when I read your book, like I'm so excited to read the rest of it, because I think that what you did is it's like a FUBU story for us, by us, you know what I mean? Because a person like me gonna take that book and like I'm excited because you're from, and you get to tell a story of the blocks that I missed out, which I think when you tap into the 70s era, when it was almost like people weren't really, but then it was the violence occurred with that shift too, and the code went away. Because I noticed when I was, you know, when I doing the play that he watched, I'm an 80s baby, so I remember, you know, the gunshots popping off, and then people tell me, "Nah, don't go there." But then some people that did get hit, they were the upstanding ones. I always knew this. Like my friend gets murdered in the play, and he was more the upstanding one. It was the good ones that get hit, where the cats doing the dirtiest to the dirt. Right. They bulletproof. They're just like they live in laws. It's like, yo, you see a shooter, and then it's the good ones that get hit. So I know you see them because I loved and honored to you for those pictures you showed of. Rest in peace to your sister. You know, I'm really honored to just hear your story from you because, and I'm really intrigued by it because, you know, it looked like the good people went out in your story too, which I think is a good parallel between the play I wrote and what you're doing because. God bless the dead, you know, but how did you cope with it and not succumb to that? Because I know that's where the preview ended of the book, but it must have took a lot of internal strength, and I know you had a bunch of ups and downs, but if you could tap on that.
Yeah, I could tap it real quickly, right? And I want to celebrate you on your ability to see things, even with addiction. Not everybody is going to be an addict. As for you, you don't have that.
Yeah.
You like, yo, I'm good right here. Yeah. Some people know how to smoke a little blunt, get them a little twirl of glass, and they good. And then you got the guy that's got to try some. Me and my guy, we was talking about when we were smoking dust and stuff like that because. My ticket was I happen to be a drug addict. You understand what I'm saying? So it's going to bring you back to your question. Every success that I have is by the grace of God. That it's not like I'm such a brilliant guy that I was able to escape that. I know for a fact that it would not have worked out if it was not for the grace of God. I don't even appoint good to myself. You know what I'm saying? Only God could make the appointment as to who actually was good and who actually is not. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, but we still strive to try to do good things and not to be a grimy nigga, right? That's going just always just you know doing things that's going to place other people in harm's way for my own personal benefit. You understand what I'm saying? We're not going to try to do that, but nobody, I think, has the right to appoint good to themselves. And there are many people that think they're justified in stepping on the backs of others because they really believe that they're good and they're not. You understand what I'm saying? So we live in a world such as this. Very quickly, when you talk about the legendary blocks, when I speak of subculture, I'm only saying subculture because it's beneath the so-called society's culture. But if we take a closer look at the society that we live in, and that we can get a closer look behind the doors, and we'll see how filthy they actually are in their affairs. You might find that the so-called subculture is a better culture than the one that we have to embrace that's within the law. Do you understand what I'm saying? So those blocks, 150th Street, 40 Projects, Sufton Boulevard, Guy Brewer, is when people they took on a determination that they were going to do something other than what was in that society. You know what I'm saying? But they only was responding to a conspiracy that someone placed on them. If you go back and you look at The Godfather, he said, put the dope in there with the donkeys. Give it to the niggas. Let them lose their soul. You understand? And by the time we so ignorant, many of us didn't know how to read. Many of us didn't know how to write. We didn't know we were being plotted against. Even when you gave us the liquor, it's a chess game, and we just learning checkers. It's easy. It's easy. Like it's easy, right? To call yourself the winner when somebody's holding these guys back and you got 15 block head start, right? Or 15 year or 150 year head start. You know what I'm saying? A person that's not really as sinister and wicked in their spirit as maybe you are. So by the time you can hit them with all kind of tricks, is that right? The Indians didn't know. What did you give? You gave them some pebbles and some rocks and a couple of cones, and you passed them off some liquor. You know what I'm saying? So so you bought the whole Manhattan for $30, right? Because their spirit was good. They didn't, they looked at you and they trusted you. You understand? So legendary blocks like that where men took narcotics and they took drugs and different things, and they was able to create underground economies. So you'll see them taking care of you. All you saw was the car, but you didn't see the little babies that wouldn't have ate if it wasn't for that. And you didn't see the people that would have been in a shelter that's in apartments. You didn't see the little bodegas that was opening up and springing up, and the little car collision places, setting up the little makeshift restaurants, because we really weren't skilled. You understand? Many of our people came from the South, escaping Jim Crow, where they were getting cheated, and they didn't know how to weigh the cotton correctly, and they didn't get what they were supposed to get on their land, while the thieves wore the shirts and the Brook Brothers ties and things of that nature, and made themselves look like civil people, when in fact they were savages and beasts in nature. I'm sorry, you listen, brother. But that's how you got blocks like that. That people that were striving to eat, and they wanted to have the things that they saw their former masters have. They wanted nice cars, and they wanted a home to stay in as well. And they wanted a nice suit. We didn't really know how to put it together, so you can see us come out with wild colors on. Look at me, I got $20, man. You understand what I'm saying? So, so as drugs escalated, things got more desperate. With the cocaine, the sniffing, it was fun, and some people didn't know how to put on their brakes. So I want to say this in closing. I don't the responsibility of our well-being is not in nobody else's hands. It's in our own hands. And we got to get honest with ourselves about our bad decisions. Even though we didn't know they were bad when we made them. So now that we're blessed to be able to take a look back, and they say hindsight is 20/20. And I respect you as a younger person, man, that have the vision that you have now. Do what you can to help those younger persons beneath you. Help them make better decisions. You understand what I'm saying? I know what country you from? Guyana?
Guyana, my family.
Yeah, I can see that, right? And that's another one of them plots. That you Guyanese, that means you a black man. That's all that means. You from Jamaica, you a black man. Your hair's a little more straight, a little bit more fine, because of the intermingling and all of that. But you a black man. Go look at. You know what to tell you if you black? That you black. Go look at the value of the U.S. dollar and the value of the Guyanese dollar.
Yep, it's the same thing.
Yeah. You take a look. Is it the same thing?
I mean the same systematic thing of what they do to the third world. No, I'm telling you the
value. Look at the value. How many Guyanese dollars?
1,000 is like it takes 1,000 Guyana
for
dollars
one U.S. dollar. Is that right? Yeah. So that means they see you as a nigga. Is that right?
It's the
and
same
how's
thing.
Your currency so less valuable, and they both paper?
It's the mass exodus they create in the country.
So they made you think you different than me.
But it's the same.
Made me think I'm different than you. But it's the same. The Puerto Ricans just recently had to learn that now with the hurricane over there.
They seen it.
They thought they were having a better relationship with them.
But it's still.
When their country came under a storm, they left them to die, left them to drown, left them in darkness, left them with disease. Is that right? And they kept the dope going though.
Ooh.
I bet you got the dope going over there, right? Damn, let's get back to it.
That breeds a lot of inner fighting.
Yes, sir.
You talk about that too, like when you went to North Carolina.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And so, expound on some of that.
Well, poor brothers in North Carolina, and that's a beautiful city, and sisters, but you got to try to get the memo. Try to get the memo. Slavery's over. You know what I'm saying? And you won't have to continue in that mentality that we different from one another. One of the things that they were successful in keeping us divided was envy and jealousy. It's successful in keeping us apart. You light skinned, he dark skinned, y'all can't really get along, right? You know what I'm saying? You can't trust that little black Sambo, you know what I'm saying? And don't you trust that little poach monkey, you know what I'm saying?
Divide and conquer.
You also explain that in the, now were these characters were real when you say you changed their names?
Which one? Yeah.
And those were a part.
They line. That's the only lie that they named.
You said that too.
They probably would get it. I said that in a book. Yeah.
Those are people within the rehab community.
You mean the recovery community?
Yeah.
The ones that I'm talking about, in this book, the Sanctified Dry Snitch and a few of the other ones, I got to go back in there and look at that because that's not really their name. I want to tell you their name. I got to go back and give you the name because then they're, then they got lawyers too. You know what I'm saying? But so a lot of times when you see persons, let's say, brother right here, he had half a pound of weed, and that's how he made his living. But this person may work for the MTA, right? But he's striving to be like his master. You understand what I'm saying? And he is too. He's just going a different route. But this one here, since he has a check signed by master, he think he's closer. So when he see him coming along and he let's say he put down his half a pound, but he's still on his journey within that system that was established for him, right? And us. Let's just say it's the MT or whatever. He wants to play the bourgeois. He want to play bougie on, you saw that?
Yeah. And see now, look, they trying to get in on the other game too. With weed and all that stuff, they trying to make that legal.
They in it.
They in
strong
it.
now.
And they're
They
gonna come out
on
and
that. I'm glad you said that. They didn't just. We had the numbers on those legendary blocks. They took that from us. They took our because we were prospering. We were prospering. We found ways to prosper independent of them. Everything that we got, they stole from us. Right? So they came and took the numbers, and now they call it lottery. Is that right? Huh? We used to roll our little dice and we used to have our little speakeasies. They used to raid that, put us in jail for that, but now they open up casinos. Is that right? It's legally, right?
Same thing.
Then we smoking our weed. You terrorized us. You put us in the penitentiary while you smoked it. You arrested us for some. You kept some, and you charged us with the rest. You understand what I'm saying? So now you see that we were having some success with our business, right? So you came and you took that, and now they put themselves into that business, and then you're gonna now see the real numbers. But I thank you, man. I thank y'all for a wonderful discussion.
I appreciate you, man.
Awesome.
Yes,
it was awesome to have you guys to feel this energy, even though that I'm removed from that.
I got you.
I'm not in any kind of game. I grew up in Lily White Town.
That's fine.
But I definitely understand y'all's experience.
No, your questions were exquisite. They were beautiful questions, and the way you delivered them, your whole situation, you would never know that. No matter where you came up with, you had your struggle. I'm sure you did. If you were somewhere in a little white town, they let you know you was a nigga one way or the other. You don't have to tell me. I know.
They didn't have to let me know. I was a ink spot in the
like a fly in a
stood out.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
So
all right. I thank you all for being here. We enjoyed both of your experiences. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank everybody for joining us around the fire once again. And until we meet again, be in peace, in safety, and in power.
Yes, sir.